They did it. They actually did it.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Jaron, Spor, National College Football Writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon, McBride. We've got a recap show for you today, and it's a fun one, finally. After the last 4 games, we actually get a fun breakdown here. And then, of course, we'll end every show with our top dog of the week like we do every single week. But first, Landon, let's start with the offense. Mississippi State obviously pulls out the 38-35 win over the Arkansas Razorbacks, improved to 5-4 on the season, 1-4 in SEC play. First SEC win since 2023. Ironically, was also against Arkansas.
Yeah.
But what was your thought of the offense?
The stats look good, but if you watch that game, the offense would go through stretches where they would have like 4 or 5 great plays, and then they would kind of lose their way. Yeah. But I think some of that came down to, like, you texted me in the middle of the game, Arkansas is selling out to stop the run. That's what Arkansas did, and we've seen all season that this team is built on running the ball, controlling the ground game, then hitting explosive passing plays. And when you can't run the ball, that does mess with your offense. I mean, credit to them for finding a way to win when your bread and butter is taken away, because, I mean, they barely crossed 100 yards total for the game, 106 total, with the leading rusher being Kamario Taylor at 55. So, I mean, they found a way despite what they do best being taken away.
Yeah, and that was the thing that, like, when I watched the game, you could tell Arkansas was like, Blake Shapen, you're going to beat us. Fluff Bothwell, you're not going to beat us. And Booth, you're not going to beat us either. Blake Shapen's going to beat us, because not only were they selling out for the run, on all the RPOs, they were selling out to the running backs. It was Blake Shapen, we're giving you a pool read every single time, because we know you're not fast enough to really do much damage. And so they scored 7 points in the first half, and then they come out in the second half, and they're looking a little sluggish again. Blake goes down, and I hate, when that happens, obviously when an injury happened, but also when a guy ends up losing his job over an injury. So I'm not saying that's what ended up happening, but so he goes down. Kamario Taylor comes in. Now the run game is open, because now they can't just stop the running backs. They have to stop him as well, which he gashed them for several big runs. As you mentioned, he ended up leading the team in rushing. He then hits the 45-yard touchdown pass. It's underthrown, but it's one of those that, like, you would rather be underthrown than overthrown, because he had to step on him. Yeah, he had to step on him. The guy was behind him. As long as you don't overthrow him, it should be a touchdown. And so he throws it, and they score a touchdown. Then obviously they have the drive where he ends up getting stopped, and then they come back with another touchdown drive. And the drive they got stopped on downs, and then 4 plays, 45-yard touchdown drive right after that. And everything's looking great. Okay, Kamario Taylor, we got a quarterback controversy on our hands, because
it was brewing.
They couldn't do anything, and then Taylor comes in and 2 scoring drives out of 3. And then Lebby makes the decision to put Shapen back in. And it's not his fault, but he immediately throws an interception. And that was on, I believe it was Anthony Evans, who hit him right in the hands and popped up and intercepted. But I texted Landon, and I even posted on our Twitter account, like, that's a fireable offense. And I especially if you lose the game. But I say that because, and someone else messaged in there, like, they didn't understand it. I'm like, if there was like 2 minutes left in the game and you're down 7 and you're like, I want the guy that's the better passer in, that makes sense. I don't have an issue with that. The issue was it's the third quarter, and you were finally rolling offensively. Now, with that being said, to Shapen's credit, he came back in and balled the rest of the game and ended up, and maybe that's what he needed, because we've seen so many times when a guy thinks they're about to lose their job, they just take off. Yes, and maybe that's what he needed, was to see Taylor play well. Now the fans are growing and like, I don't know if he should ever be back in. And then boom, you come in and ball out. So props to him though.
Yeah, Shapen answered the call after that first pass, but I mean, Lebby got bailed out by Shapen, honestly. Like, if they had lost this game after putting Shapen back in, I don't know how you recover as a coach or a quarterback. It wouldn't, because I mean, you've committed to Shapen at that point. You can't start Kamario Taylor the next game because then you are admitting to being wrong. But Shapen balled out, got the win, and Lebby avoids having to really answer those questions. He still got asked those questions, but you can kind of deflect and put it on the medical team at that point. Like, you don't actually have to answer any real questions about it. Yeah, Shapen. Hey, and Anthony Evans had his share of mistakes in this one. He dropped more balls
the clutch touchdown
than I've ever seen, but they went to him on 4th down, and if he doesn't break that tackle, I don't think he has the first down. They would have had to measure.
It'd been close, because he was kind of diving like to reach almost, so it would have been close.
But he broke that tackle, and then made some other guys miss and got in there. That is one of those individual effort plays that makes football so much fun.
And as you mentioned, Lebby did talk about it, and he said, and he actually said exactly what we said before the season as to why you go with Shapen over Kamario Taylor.
Old guy.
But he said, hey, I'm proud of the way Kamario played and did what he did on those 2 touchdown drives, but we needed an old guy to be able to go win this game. Felt that way, and he did. Came back in, plays unbelievably tough, leads us down the field to go win the game in the 4th quarter. That was the reason why they went with Shapen to start, and we said that all offseason. And Lebby has now doubled down on that, and so fans out there that are like, "Hey, we need a quarterback controversy," and I'm that way too, because I think Taylor's should be the guy. But with that being said, Lebby has shot that down now. This is what he wants, and this is what he wants going forward. And it's hard to argue it because they've won 5 games.
Yeah.
They're 1 game away from being bowl eligible, which before the season we said if you win 4 games, that's a good season. If you get 5 or 6, that's a great season based off the 2-10 season you had last year, and you still have some spots that you got to fill up. But the one other thing that I kind of want to bring up was I was getting frustrated, and every fan base is this way, so I don't want to make it sound like it's just this fan base, but 2 things kind of frustrated me early in the game when they weren't really having success running the ball. I saw a lot of, well, this offensive line is just terrible and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this goes back to what I've said, where it's, if the run game doesn't work, it's not just the offensive line, it's everything in between. And I'm not blaming the running backs, but what was happening was they were sending 7, 8 guys when you only have 5 or 6 to block. You're losing that every time because they knew they could not go into this game and let Bothwell and Booth run the table on them. And they didn't believe Blake Shapen could beat him. Now, his credit, he did.
Yeah, and also some of it was on the offensive line, but like if you watch the game and listen to the announcers every 5 minutes, they were talking about how there were backups in, there are guys out of position. I mean, this is not your every week offensive line. And I
wasn't saying the offensive line wasn't at fault because they had their mistakes, but they weren't really that bad. It wasn't just
them. Like and like you mentioned, you're never going to win that unless Barry Sanders is back there. You're getting 50 yards on that. I mean, it's just how it is. So it worked out in the end. This is going to be a big one going forward for this team, really. I mean, you got a bunch of guys out there who have had limited experience, like on that offensive line. You got Kamario Taylor playing clutch minutes in an SEC game. He might not play. I mean, he'll obviously, we've seen it, packages, plays that he'll be in the rest of the way, but this is legitimate game action where he led 2 or 3 full drives in the middle of a game that mattered. So that's going to be big for his development going forward. Lebby, he figured out a little bit of the clock management thing. He said he wanted a timeout last week. This time he had one and it worked out. So, I mean, maybe this was kind of a turning point for this team.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to bring up was I saw a lot of people when Shapen went back in, they're like, Kamario Taylor should transfer. This is what's going to lead him to transfer. I'm not saying he won't transfer because you never know in this day and age. That's not the reason he's going to transfer because Blake Shapen's gone after this year. Yeah. So if his reason for transferring, because what you're saying is his reason for transferring is Blake Shapen is over him and he can't do anything to get above him. Well, Shapen's gone. Like he's not here next year. So that defeats that purpose. Now he might transfer because he gets bigger money somewhere and whatever the case may be. He's not transferring because of that, what just happened. And I will say this, you saw the freshman in him and you saw the not as polished as a passer because there were some throws even in the drives that they scored touchdowns on that it's like, okay, Shapen makes that.
The check down to the running back that he just fired.
Yeah, he fired as hard as he could. And then I believe it was fourth down, but it might have been third down, but they had a receiver in between the linebacker and the safety,
Yeah.
and he threw it over him.
Right.
He also threw one deep that should have been picked off into double coverage. And so there were some things that and he just misfired. And those are throws that Shapen typically kind of makes usually. And so you can see the difference in the passer. It's just, but you can also see the special in Kamario Taylor and his running ability and just how much the defenses have to respect that. And that's why as long as he stays, obviously the future for him is very bright in this system.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, there's no reason for him to transfer given that reason because, you know, we talked about a lot going into it too. Who would actually be the backup? Would it be him or Kromenhoek? It's clearly him. I mean, he's the number 2 guy. It's very clear. So, I mean, it's his job next year as long as he sticks around.
Yeah, so I think Kromenhoek might be the one that transfers out, but maybe not. He might like it here and compete, and who knows? He might actually win the job. But as of right now, it is Taylor for sure. All right, coming up next, we'll break down the defense. Don't go anywhere. Well, college football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands. There's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices, jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you get. I pulled up Game Time many times, and in just a couple tabs, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. The app made it super simple, and I can even see the exact view from my seat before buying. I've told you that's my favorite part. I want to know where I'm going to sit during the game. I actually used Game Time to sell some tickets. Someone asked me, well, where are those seats at? Send them a screenshot of the picture from Game Time, and it ended up being able to sell those. So I love Game Time. It's very simple and very easy to use. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right, Landon, let's get into the defense. What was your thoughts?
Well, for 3 quarters, they were not good. They could not stop the run. I mean, Arkansas was getting whatever they wanted on the ground for the majority of this game.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter showed up, and that's the defense we've seen the majority of this year is what was on the field in the fourth quarter. They played so good, and you're starting to see the pressure get there. Yeah. And it's the linebackers. We talked about them a lot last week. The linebackers played really well. They're playing really well again. Zachary Tillman was massive. Nick Mitchell was all over the field. I mean, these linebackers are really starting to take a step.
Yeah, and Malik Silla at the end.
Pass rusher.
Yeah, that was an incredible move at the end with his sack. And then he was the one who forced, I believe it was him that forced the intentional grounding at the very end.
Yeah.
They had 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. But yeah, no, you're right. The first quarter and the fourth quarter, they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
The middle 2, they were really bad.
Real bad.
But this is the thing. 2 things about that. One is, we said this, Arkansas had a top 10 offense coming into the game. They were number 7 in total offense. While Mississippi State's defense is much improved, they're not elite and they're not great either. They're a good, above average to good defense, which is a massive improvement from last year. So Arkansas was going to get theirs. And by the way, I really like Mike Washington after watching him more in this game.
He looks good.
Like, if I'm an NFL team, 3rd, 4th round, somewhere in there, I'm taking him.
Yeah.
He's good. He runs with power. He's got speed. He's a really good player. And Taylor Green ended up being good Taylor Green for most of that game. Yeah. So that also makes things difficult. But I did think they actually controlled him in the run game fairly well. I mean, held him to 46 yards on 2.7 yards.
The spy worked.
The spy worked. They did really good on him, but he made some really good throws. But another thing is they had a bunch of injuries during the game. Jaron Manning, who I've said is the defensive MVP, he goes down in the game. And it sounded like maybe concussion the way they were kind of talking. So we'll see about his availability this week against Georgia. But yeah, I mean, and then, Lanier at one point got hurt too. He obviously came back, but he at one point got hurt. So yeah, I just, That's the thing. I just think there were some things that went against them, and then they also went against a really good offense.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't going to shut out this defense, or the defense wasn't going to shut out this offense, keep them to like under 20 points or something, unless you just got one of those games where Taylor Green throws 5 interceptions. So they played really well considering that. And
Right.
I mean, at some point, I know this isn't just related to our defense, but at some point we have to talk about the amount of penalties Arkansas had.
Yeah.
That was 100 and like before the intentional grounding, it was like at 191 yards or something.
193 on 18 penalties.
That's insane.
I believe it was either an SEC record or NCAA record. I can't remember.
I know it was an Arkansas record. I remember them saying
that.
I
saw that. Yeah.
That was unreal. Like, and I know a lot of people, I know Arkansas fans, I've already seen some of it. Oh, the refs gave them this game. The only one of those penalties that was questionable was that early pass interference that the ball might have been uncatchable. Everything else was an obvious penalty.
Yeah.
You can't even question them.
Like the Quincy Rhodes one where he sacks him and then flings him like a ragdoll after they blow the whistle. Like
I thought he was too slow on throwing the flag.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was stupid penalties, which again goes back to our Friday show where we were like, both teams try to lose games all the time, and we thought Arkansas would be the one that does a little more than Mississippi State. The penalties proved that because Mississippi State had 4 for 30, so they actually did pretty good in the penalty department.
Yeah, so I mean that was just a crazy part, but this defense did good. I mean, there was nothing super flashy about this defensive performance. There were some bad stretches. But they came up big in the fourth quarter. I mean, they shut them out in the fourth quarter, and that is what you needed to happen to win this game. So, I mean, hats off to them for finding a way after getting just run through for 2 quarters. Whatever changes Hutzler made in that fourth quarter worked.
Yeah, and especially because Arkansas scored that touchdown at the very start of the fourth quarter. Like it was a drive that was in the third, and then they scored
the first
minute. Yeah, it was in the first couple minutes of the fourth quarter. They go up 35-21, and it's like, golly, we're about to lose this game. But then after that, it's punt, 4 plays punt, 4 plays punt, 4 plays downs. And obviously the offense did touchdown, field goal, touchdown to win the game. So that's playing complementary football, which we haven't seen a ton of this year. We've seen it in spots, but that's how you play complementary football right there.
That's just playing good football. I mean, that was I mean, an offense like that, they run 12 plays pretty much the entire quarter, and they're all 2 punts and a turnover on downs. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, and the thing is, at that point when they went up 35-21, Arkansas had been rolling for 2 quarters straight, and then obviously the first drive in the fourth quarter, I'm like, this one's over, like, because they can't stop them. Like, even if I kept feeling like Mississippi State's going to score and be fine, but I was like, they can't stop them. And then, of course, they do great stopping them on 3 straight drives. So, hats off to the defense in the fourth quarter. I thought you saw some really good things, and you obviously saw some really bad things, which is what a above average to good defense does, especially against a great offense.
Yeah, one that's still learning. A lot of these guys are still young or like first-year starters, kind of first year at this level. You can tell they're getting better, but every now and then you still see those the growing pains that really happen. But it looks like these linebackers are starting to take a jump. It honestly does.
Yeah. The biggest issue that I saw early in the game when Arkansas was having success was there was no pass rush at all. And so the secondary was playing really good. But after like 5, 6, 7 seconds sitting back there, eventually someone came open and they would hit a big play. But that's not on the secondary. That's on the defensive line. But once they start getting pressure, everything started working out better. But all right, coming up next, we will reveal our top dog of the week. Don't go anywhere.
The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon, who is your top dog of the week?
I mean, it's Anthony Evans. I mean, he had a huge game, 5 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And one of them was the game-winning touchdown, which he broke the tackle right there at the first down marker. If he goes down, the game might end there. But broke that tackle and weaved his way into the end zone, and might have got the monkey off the back of this team, and we can see them start to get better from there. So, Anthony Evans was huge.
Yeah. I went back and forth. I thought Isaac Smith played a really good game, and we haven't really recognized him as much this year just because of our high expectations. He had 11 tackles, which led the team. Should have had a pick late in the game that would have pretty much sealed it. I ended up going with Blake Shapen just because I wanted to give him props because it's hard when you have all this quarterback controversy around you. And he's heard it for weeks that, hey, they need to go with Taylor. They need to go with Taylor. They need to go with Taylor. Then he gets pulled out of the game because they buzz down and pull him out.
Yeah.
He has no symptoms, but they still have to go through all the checkbox, which is what Lebby talked about. And that takes time to go through all that. So while he's sitting there going through all this, while he feels great, Kamario Taylor's out there bawling. And so now the roars are going even louder and louder and louder. And that's why I believe he went over to Lebby and was like, hey, I'm good. Like, get me back in the game. I want to get back in the game. Because he knew if Taylor finishes this game and plays the way he's playing and they win the game, he ain't getting that job back. No. And so for him to come in, and then the first play he comes back in, throws a pick. Now, it was on the receiver. It wasn't on him. But throws the pick, and now it's like, oh, great. They're going to lose the game, and then, he's going to get blamed, and then it's a benching and all this stuff. He then, after that, was almost flawless the rest of the game. Yeah. So I want to give him props. He finished 16 of 28, not eye-popping numbers, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. The game winner was an absolute dot to Evans on the out route. But, yeah, I mean, after he throws the interception on the first play, 9 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, 8 plays, 43 yards, field goal, 10 plays, 69 yards, touchdown. And that was the game winner. He was flawless after that, so I want to give him props.
Yeah, he made some great throws, some legitimately great throws that he made the rest of that way. Yeah. And he had a couple early on, and it was weird. Early in the game, he was kind of misfiring too. A lot of throws, a little bit too high, a little bit too low. But after that interception, he was just on.
Yeah. Oh, and on the game-winning drive, he hits the 4th and 7, 32-yard pass to Brennan Thompson. Now, it's underthrown, but I mean, it's still a big-time moment, and I think it actually worked out that Brennan Thompson didn't look back until the last minute, because if he was probably tracking, then the receiver probably would have found the ball. But yeah, no, I mean, he was big in big moments in this game, which we had seen at times this year. Arizona State's a great example. Yeah. And so I was happy to see him go play this way because, again, if he comes out and stinks, he's probably not the starter anymore. The voices are going even louder about wanting him out. Or if he doesn't come back in and Taylor leads this comeback and plays really well, he's definitely not in ever again. And so for him to come in and that's a big pressure moment and to play well, I just had to give him the nod for that. And I will say this, even though he didn't have eye-popping rushing numbers, also because sacks kind of go in that, I thought he did pretty good in the run game too. I know he finished with 10 carries for 16 yards, but on that note, 2 of those were sacks. But I felt like when he had to take off and run, and they did some quarterback design stuff with him, I thought worked out really well.
Yeah, that was good to see him actually move a little bit because he's not like the fastest guy, but he can run when he needs to. So it was good they did that. And also just hats off to Kamario Taylor. I mean, coming in off the bench in that situation and doing what he did to keep the team in it and give them a spark to be able to get that comeback. I mean, that's huge too. I mean, you're sitting there pretty much cold for 2 quarters and a halftime, and then you just come in and do what he did as a true freshman in that situation. That's big.
Yeah. And you could see on his face, he was just calm, cool, collective, and he played well. So props to him. All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy breaks down the best conference in college sports, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On SEC on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, I'm Jaron. Check out my work over at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Post daily videos Monday through Friday, so check that out. We also post a pre- and post-game video as well, so make sure to go watch those. And, yeah, until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.